How's it going, everyone? My name is Justin Blair, and I will be your host tonight for this special edition of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Welcome to the newly revamped featured series, Orange and Blue Profile. In this series, we'll be talking to influential people that were contributors to this rich soccer culture in the Queen City and beyond. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Jake Barford, more commonly known as BFordLancer on YouTube. Jake is a Cincinnati native that began creating soccer-related content on his YouTube page over 9 years ago and has grown a following of over 1.5 million subscribers on his main channel and 250,000 subscribers on his channel, The Weekly Dab of Footy. Jake previously worked alongside FC Cincinnati in EMLS content creation along with Fiddle. Jake traveled all over the world creating soccer content and now resides in New York City. But no matter where he's gone, Jake has never been bashful about his passionate support for his hometown FC Cincinnati. Jake, welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How
What's
you
up,
doing,
man?
brother?
I'm doing great. Great intro. I'm glad I can come in here and talk some FCC football and whatever else we get into, man.
Absolutely, man. I know when I floated this idea to a lot of people, they were like, "Oh my god, it's BFordLancer." I frequent on YouTube, and I came across your channel, I guess a few years ago, and I was like, "Holy cow, this guy's pretty daggone good." And I was like surprised to know that you were a FC Cincinnati fan. So when I started thinking of this series and stuff, I was like, I have to get Jake on here. Jake, just maybe start off by telling us like what was life growing up in Cincinnati for you?
Yeah, born and raised in Cincinnati. Grew up on the west side. Went to college at Xavier, so like I'm Cincinnati through and through. Um, and then yeah, man, I started kind of getting a passion for soccer, and FC Cincinnati came along, and was it 2016? And that was kind of right around the time I started doing content as well, man. So it really just like went hand in hand. So my kind of passion for soccer and FC Cincinnati were kind of that was where it kind of all really was like starting for me, because I really didn't grow up playing soccer. I was baseball, football, basketball. Um, but yeah, it was kind of weird how yeah, I kind of like fell in love with football, soccer,
Yeah.
whatever we want to call it.
That's got to be a challenge for you. Like I was like drafting this up, and I was like, should I call it football or should I call it
Yeah.
soccer? I don't know how much like Jake's audience is going to resonate with either one.
Yeah.
But Jake, you mentioned football, soccer, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. You weren't always passionate about it. So like what was it that kind of the aha moment that got you really into it?
Yeah. Well, the reason I say football is because I have a audience that I do have a lot of American followers, but a ton of people from Europe and frankly like all over the world, Asia, South America, watch my content. So it's always going to be football. Um, but yeah, no, 2010 World Cup for me, I think was when I first started watching. Again, I didn't grow up playing, so like 2010 World Cup was my first really like experience with the game and watching the U.S. and Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey, and yeah, we made it out of the group in just amazing fashion. So that was kind of where things started for me. Really like took an interest then. And yeah, started playing FIFA, right? The video game like we all grew up playing. And that's kind of where I started to learn more of the players, more of the teams. And then, yeah, that carried into like me watching other people play FIFA on YouTube when I was, sitting in the back of class in high school or, yeah, just like at home, right? And I'm like, hey, maybe I could do this. And that was kind of at a time where, I mean, this is like 2014, 2015. This is like a time where, I don't know, social media, I feel like was just kind of starting to like not even get into the mainstream yet, right? Like, I don't know your experience, but yeah, I mean, I grew up, I'm 27 now, so this is well over 10 years ago. But yeah, this is well, not about yeah, about 10 years ago or so. Um, yeah, it was a time where not a lot of people were like creating content, and I really, yeah, I took an interest in it. And I'm like, you know what? There's definitely like a gap in the market for like gaming content specifically, and just all sorts of content. Again, back then, not many people were doing it. So yeah, I started posting videos, and yeah, here we are today, 10 years later, million subscribers. I've got to do some cool things. Pull the sword. That was awesome. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's super wild that you were able to see that need in, soccer related content. You were able to plug and fill that. That's a unique quality that, I don't think a lot of people have. And also props to you for surviving the Boo Zalas as your first soccer experience.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
was there like a part of you that was like, is this like always like what's
Yeah.
gonna happen in soccer games?
Yeah, I had no idea. Like, you hear the buzzing, right? In every single game. 100%. I'm like, is this normal? Like, is this I'm guessing this is just like what every World Cup is like, right? But nah. No, the South African World Cup was again, that was my first one, so like a little biased. But that was just like that was a great World Cup in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kinda like you. I grew up not too much of a fan of soccer, and, World Cup really got me hooked. I had
Yeah.
a German professor that was like, "Hey, you need to check this out. World Cup's gonna be in Germany this year, so 2006." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Holy cow." Like, I had no clue. I thought it was just like a developmental sport. I had no clue it was
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
Columbus had a team right back then, but like
yeah.
for people, growing up in Cincinnati, you didn't really have any connection, right? Unless you played it. But I feel like Cincinnati, it's a baseball town, right? And
Mhm.
nowadays, definitely more soccer. But I grew up playing baseball. Cincinnati being the first ever baseball team, professional team, right? Like
Absolutely.
that was it for me. But yeah, no, I'm sure nowadays all the kids are flocking. A lot more people, I should say, are growing up playing soccer. I would imagine.
Yeah, they've done a really good job promoting that. Speaking of, kind of seeing a need in their market and being able to grow and develop people, how did you and FC Cincinnati get connected and start working together?
Yeah, I was in college. I was, kind of my YouTube channel was in like its second or third year, maybe. Um, so I was doing that. I had the soccer connection there, and yeah, I met. So I used to do production for the Cincinnati Reds. I had an internship there. I used to like run the scoreboard. Um, I was the guy behind the scenes doing like the skyline shuffle, like choosing which cup it was under. Right, if you've been to a Reds game, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So I did that, and one of my coworkers worked for FC Cincinnati, and we started talking, and I ended up getting an internship at FC Cincinnati, and I was helping them out with their esports. So kind of just like getting content, social media. You talked about Fiddle in the intro. He used to be FC Cincinnati's like professional FIFA player. So yeah, I just kind of got in there and then started working matches when they played at Nippert, working the cameras behind the scenes on the sideline. Um, yeah, so I've always been involved in like media and video production. So yeah, just like internships, trying to like meet as many people as possible when I was in college, and definitely my YouTube channel kind of helped me like build a resume where I could like show people like that I was I guess passionate about soccer, right? To work with FC Cincinnati, and that internship led to some other cool opportunities, and is yeah one of the reasons I got to pull the sword as well. Yeah,
It's like full circle. You
for
start
sure.
off as an intern and now you're walking out
I know,
on the
right? Yeah.
PQL and pulling out the sword. That's awesome. Uh, like, was there a moment or like when did you like look at your soccer content and say, "Hey, like I don't need to be doing any side jobs or I need to invest my time fully on this."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so like I mentioned, I went to Xavier, started university there at in 2016, and I was doing YouTube. That was kind of my second year doing YouTube. I started when I was in high school, did it all 4 years in college. So I was taking classes, I was, uploading a YouTube video every day. I was also like I said, I had an internship with the Reds at FC Cincinnati. I was doing, I don't, looking back, like, I don't know how I survived that time. Like, I was always working, always doing something. Um, but yeah, I think it was just, yeah, like kind of 4 years every single day. Like I was uploading a piece of content every single day, without missing maybe a few here and there, but like
Wow.
it was just a grind, right? Um, so yeah, by the time college ended, I'd built up like a pretty solid audience. I think I was up to like maybe like 500,000 followers on YouTube. And that was also around the same time that COVID hit. So, I was making enough money to do it full time. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just make YouTube videos and not get a job out of college. I still kept working with like the Reds and stuff, but that was more on a part time basis. So yeah, I just kind of went for it out of college. Again, like COVID was happening in 2020, so you really couldn't do much at that point. Like a lot of people were kind of like trapped in their homes. Not many people were hiring, so I was like, yeah, let's just post.
That's awesome, man. That's like that's a one like absurd risk when you think about it. Like, and you making that jump and having faith in like your artwork and
Yeah,
knowing that what your media, like you're dominating this particular media form, and to you to just make that jump. That's
yeah,
were your like parents fully supportive of it, or was there some apprehension there?
yeah. No, I had 100% support from like the people around me. Yeah, I was already doing well enough, so I think they kind of they saw that I was able to support myself and yeah, I was doing well. And I think the biggest thing was that when I graduated and when I went full time, I committed to like going full time and I wasn't slacking. I was, you know, continuing to just get content up and work all day and, work 10-hour shifts, right? When you work for yourself, you really don't get a ton of time off. So, yeah, I was committed to what I was doing and continuing to like grow and improve every day. So, yeah, like I didn't really see it as a risk. It was more like if I'm not gonna do this, what else am I gonna do? Right. I feel like the dream for me was always like, well, maybe first to be like an athlete. When you're a kid, you wanna play
Yeah,
professional, right? But besides that, it's like work for yourself and play video games. It's like that's probably the next thing. So just went for it. You had the opportunity. It's like you can't not try to go for it. So yeah.
absolutely. And what like it during that time you made a pretty significant jump. You moved away from Cincinnati. You went to London and now you're currently New York City. Like what was those transitions like?
Yeah. London was for like a month, so I didn't really that wasn't like a full-time thing. I went over there for like a month and just made a bunch of content out there. But New York is where I'm at now. I've been here for like 2.5 years. Um, so back to Cincinnati frequently. I still have like a place in Cincinnati that I'll go back to. But New York has been a crazy transition from growing up on the west side of Cincinnati in the burbs to living in New York City is no easy task. It's crazy on these streets out here every day. You see something new, and at first something crazy happens and you freak out. And now after 2.5 years living here, I see something crazy happen, and I don't
Just
even
keep
bat an eye
walking.
and just walk out. Like seriously, it's New York City is very, very crazy place to live. It's got its pros and cons, but yeah, I don't know. I grew up in Cincinnati, been there my whole life. I needed kind of to, I don't know. I wanted to see what it would be like living somewhere else, right? And there's opportunities out here that I had, so took the jump, and yeah, I could see myself going back to Cincinnati one day, but for now, be here for at least another year or so. Yeah, see what happens.
Are you holding out for the what do they call it? The cube, the block, the NYCFC stadium they're
Yeah, no,
building?
that's a year. That'll be like during the World Cup, I think, in
Yeah.
2026. Yeah. We could talk about that. I mean, I don't New York City FC, I know they knocked us out,
Yeah.
FC Cincinnati out of the playoffs last season. I don't have any ill will against New York City FC. I'm not like a fan by any means.
Sure.
Red Bull, definitely don't like the Red Bull, but
We agree on that for sure.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but NYCFC, I've gotten to do some stuff with them. They've treated me well, you know. I'm excited for their
Yeah.
new stadium. Actually, it's going to be really nice in Queens. Um, that's should bring a lot of good things to that team. So, I mean, that'll be a tough obstacle for FCC to face. All the New York teams, I feel like just I don't know. They haven't been good in recent years. So, yeah,
Yeah,
except last year.
we all thought it was gonna be the coronation of the Red Bulls, and, like, I think a fair bit of FC Cincinnati supporter groups were cheering for, LA Galaxy.
Yeah, oh
I'm
yeah.
kind of one of those, like, I got into it early enough to where I have that deep hatred for Galaxy that
Okay, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like when I first started watching it, it was all anybody because it
Yeah, 'cause
was
they just won
literally
everything.
yeah, it was like coming off of the '06 World Cup. Like they just picked up oh gosh, David Beckham. I don't know why that name just popped in and out of my head, but
Yeah,
David
of course.
Beckham came into the league, and it was like all anybody ever wanted to talk about. They were blue blood. They, you know, it irked me. So I hate to admit it, but I think I kind of cheered for Red Bull in that game.
Did
It
you?
didn't it
Okay.
didn't matter in the end, but you
Yeah.
know, I can go
I
back
was
to hating them now.
I was at that game actually. Um, I will say LA Galaxy fans are the real deal. They are I think of any MLS game I've been to, like the like loudest I've seen, the most
I
passionate, the
bet.
most diehard, like and again, they are like they're like a founding club, right? So they've been
Yeah.
around the longest. So that makes sense. But I was very impressed by the LA fans. And yeah, I was glad they beat the Red Bull. That's one thing. Like I I live in New York now, but I can't stand New York sports teams, any of them. Yankees, least favorite by far. The Knicks, I don't mind. The Knicks are usually horrible, so it's
They're
fine.
harmless, yeah.
Yeah, then yes, exactly. The Nets are yeah, they're the Brooklyn Nets, right? No one cares about the Nets. Um, the soccer teams. I mean, New York Red Bull, they're basically New Jersey. Like
Yeah. Yep.
eh, all of their fans are from New Jersey. Most of them, for the most part. NYCFC, they're fine. Don't mind them. But yeah, the Giants and Jets harmless as well.
That brings me to a special event that I want to make sure that we announce to our group here coming up February 1st. Join us with Grainworks Brewery at Westchester. This will be the fourth annual scarf release party for the Norden supporter group. It's a family friendly event. Will be appearances of Gary the Lion, former FC Cincinnati players, the FCC street team, live music from Bofus, a silent auction, and more. And Cincinnati Soccer Talk will be doing a live show starting at 5:30 p.m. This is one of our favorite events of the year. The silent auction goes for a really good cause. So if you're in the Cincinnati area, please join us at Westchester. It's a ton of fun. Again, that is from 4 to 10 on February 1st. Jake, so I have to ask you, man, like when you hit 1 million subs, it's probably one of your most like asked from like the friends and the guys and stuff like that. When you hit 1 million subs, did it all feel like surreal, or was it feel like just like finally hitting that mountaintop of it?
Yeah, it was definitely an awesome moment. Like looking back, that was what I had always been like working towards. Um, And yeah, it was definitely like a culminating moment, all the years of like just uploading every day in my room, like grinding away. Not that I didn't like love the journey, but it was yeah, it was a great moment to like see the number tick up to 1 million. And I hit it as I was on my way to go to the Champions League final in 2022. So yeah, it's just like that was an amazing moment. Like went to watch Liverpool play Real Madrid in Paris. Just hit 1 million subscribers. Got to I got to play on the field the next day after the final with Kaká with Roberto Carlos. So
That's
like
nuts.
yeah, that
Absolutely
was
nuts.
yeah, it's just like a crazy yeah, like few days that I'll literally never forget. Like I was sitting next to Will Ferrell at the Champions League final. Like yeah, just like an awesome moment. Yeah.
So, what are those moments like when I saw the video where you fist bumped Christian Pulisic before flying out to the Columbus
Yeah.
Crew FC Cincinnati match? Do you ever feel like is there like a humanistic element of it where you're like now you see them like for like a human being, or are they still like that
Yeah.
shining star in your eyes?
No, for sure. I think at first, when I first kind of started working with players, yeah, like the first time I filmed with like Rio Ferdinand, and that was like surreal. I was like, whoa, this is just like this superhuman figure. But like, yeah, after a while, and when you get to actually like meet some of the guys, like the Pulisic one, some of those are really quick interactions. So it's just like yeah, like with him, fist bumped him. I met him a few months later, and I got to film for like I don't know, maybe like a minute or so with him. But a lot of the interactions are quick. It's like this player has like 2 or 3 minutes, like film something with him. Go. I did get to film like a year or so ago with Weston McKinney, and we had like a few hour shoot, and he was an awesome dude. Like he is just the funniest guy. He is just like the happiest guy you'll ever meet. Like loving life, like pro footballer. This was like a week or two after the season ended as well, and we were filming like a video at Top Golf. So we're having beers, hitting golf balls. Um, yeah, he was great. After I filmed with him, we stayed in another 40 minutes, and again, we're just like drinking, playing Top Golf. He was with like a few of his family members, and they invited me to play golf the next morning, and went to go play with him. And Weston, I show up to the golf course. This is out in like Arizona or something. I show up to the golf course, and it's like Weston's dad, brother, a few other people. They're like, "Hey, sorry, man, Weston might not make it. Like, he was out till 5 a.m. last night." And we ended up golfing, and yeah, Weston did not make the first 9 holes. So that was a funny story, but yeah,
Totally
no,
in character for him.
for sure, he's an awesome dude. Love Weston McKinney, great guy. There were rumors he was going to join FCC. What was that? That was like last off season, right?
Oh
That
yeah,
would have been
yeah,
great. I would have loved that.
yeah. I think the entirety of the MLS would have set their hair on fire. Actually, it's the USM&T supporters. That's what it was. It was like
Yeah, yeah.
completely bashing the guy for coming. It's like if he wants to come, come. I mean,
Yeah, I got
I
no
like
problem.
Skyline. Yeah, he likes Skyline Chili. Come on, man, just come on down.
I got no problem. Like, definitely, you'll get better competition and better experience
Sure.
playing in Europe or wherever else. But yeah, if you're an American and you're a I mean, I guess for like US player standards, he would be considered like a star player, right?
Oh yeah,
If he wants to come to play in his home country, like why not? Like again, it's not going to be as great a competition as the Serie A or wherever, but he'd he would have an awesome time here, right? Like,
yeah,
um, but I'm sure we'll start to see it. The league's still young, so give it 20
absolutely.
years, and yeah.
Did you let Weston McKinney know that you're a Juve like legend on FIFA? Did you let him know that you handled the sticks? You were better with Ronaldo than he was
we well
assisting him.
well we played a game of FIFA against each other, and what was it? I think I scored on him with himself and beat him. So he wasn't very good. He wasn't very good at the game. No.
That's gotta be super defeating.
Yeah.
You're getting scored on by yourself.
Yeah.
Speaking of FIFA games, like, do you have a favorite FIFA game?
Ooh. I think FIFA
It
17 is like the best one as of late. And I
mm,
think that's pretty like unanimous around like the hardcore players would probably say that. But yeah, I grew up playing like I think FIFA 13 was the first one I ever played, maybe 12. All those are great.
mm.
I even think like FIFA '08 was really good as well. That
Oh, yeah.
was one of the better, like I think that was the first one on like PlayStation 3, so that one's really good.
Yeah.
All the recent ones though have been so bad. Like ever since like FIFA, I don't know, like the past 5 or 6 have been really bad. And yeah, it's tough. Um, ever since they changed the name to FC, and they just don't really change much. It's just like Ultimate Team is, yeah, everyone or all the work, I should say, like gets thrown into Ultimate Team. They don't really update the career mode or the pro clubs or the other
Yeah.
game modes. It's just like get people to open packs. That's kind of what it's come down to, and it's like ruin things. So, what about you? Was your
Oh, if I had to pick one, it would probably be FIFA 10.
okay?
They used to have the 11 on 11 mode, and that was just pure chaos.
Wait, the
You
11. Wait, what? Isn't that
It
just
was
normal?
it was on Xbox Live, so it'd be 11 players queuing up versus 11 players,
They still
and
have
it
that.
was
That's just so that was the first one that was pro clubs. That was like the first one with pro clubs then.
okay. They have I know they have, like, a 5v5 or something like
They
that. They
do
have,
have
like, a
that now, yeah.
modified mode, yeah, But like, I think it was like the next couple FIFAs that came out. I was like, wait, you took this out. Like this was like pure chaos. Like center backs were
I
pressing up to get
I
the
think they still have it. I'm pretty sure you can play pro clubs 11v11. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Is it like, like career mode or anything? It's not just like a pickup game?
Oh, it's a pickup game. Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay. Heck yeah. I'll have to go out and purchase that. But if you're saying they're draining it out, that's kind of like the problem with like 2K, isn't it? Right?
It's just video games in general, right?
Yeah,
I feel like EA is a public company. They got to prioritize profits, and at the end of the day, it's just like you got to microtransactions, right? It's like
to survive.
you don't just log on to play anymore. You log on to play, and then you got to put money into the game to make your team better, and it's just like it's just yeah, it's draining.
I've never spent a couple $100 buying Fortnite skins. Never in my life. I promise.
I haven't either. Just kidding, I definitely have.
Oh, absolutely. So we kind of alluded to it. Like, um, is like there ever a moment where you're like, man, like this, like I know, you can get kind of burned out running through the content and going through the grind and stuff like that. Like, what gets you like going each time? Is it like the new ideas, or is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I have been a bit burnt out lately. Like I mean, I've been doing this since like 2015, 2016. So it's been 10 years. So yeah, I'm a bit burnt out, especially, as we just talked about as well. Like the game doesn't change much. And it's really discouraging when, your life depends on this one video. And I've branched out. Like my content isn't all gaming nowadays, but that's what it was. It was me posting a gaming video every day, and it's impossible for me to do that anymore. It's just like I don't have the passion or motivation that I once had. Um, and yeah, content nowadays too. It's like when I started, not many people were creators. It was a lot harder, like to get a microphone and to get the proper equipment to record the game on your PlayStation or Xbox. Nowadays, like if you want to do it, it's extremely easy. Every kid wants to be a YouTuber, a content creator now. So there's a lot more competition out there. Yeah, a lot more content in general. So, and yeah, I guess as I get older too, it's like I don't want to be sitting at my desk playing video games every day. But it's like that's the audience I've built. So I still do it. I do love like creating content. So I love coming up with new ideas. I think that's just like that's the hardest part is coming up with like ideas that like really like excite me and motivate me to like want to make a full video on that. Um, and then yeah, like with YouTube with content, you just have to be consistent. It's like you work a normal job, you take like vacation for a week or two, and I can do that. But if I do that, it you know it hurts the algorithm, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
content game it's a weird one, man. And yeah, it's been interesting to see, obviously my content evolve, but just like these platforms evolve over the years. So yeah, it's interesting for sure.
So I saw your recent video. If you guys got to check out Jake's channel BFordLancer, but he recently came out with a video where he was purchasing. I think these were like indie games,
Oh yeah.
and you were competing against it. I was having fun with that. I particularly loved uh, the Neymar uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, flops. That was a hilarious game. It was kind of a, obstacle course with Neymar just rolling across the ground
Yeah.
holding his knee.
Yeah, that one was like finding I was playing like soccer games online that hadn't like never been played before, had very little reviews. And you can find so many like random games for like a lot of them are free, a lot of them are like a dollar or two. And yeah, they're all indie games. So it's like, yeah, like one of them, like you could tell like a child like made this game and somehow had like, I don't know, the software to make a video game. And that was fun. So yeah, more stuff like that, right? Like I don't know, it's not my channel used to only be like FIFA video game content, but yeah, it's just like finding fun, entertaining ideas. Yeah, just in the soccer world. So
I had a lot of fun with it. Hey, I gotta ask you, like, you've always repped FCC's badge on your shoulder, man. How much like crap did you get over the years with FC Cincinnati picking up 3 wooden spoons, technically 3 wooden spoons? Like,
Yeah.
was it like one? Obviously, a lot of people are Barca fans, Juve fans, Man U, and you're walking in wearing FC Cincinnati. Like, what was the reaction to some of the people you've worked with?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, we talked about it. Like Cincinnati, when we grew up, they didn't have a team. And I think it was just cool for me to be able to like finally have a team that I could, be passionate about and root for and be a fan of. So even though we sucked for so long, um, I mean, no, we were great in USL. Like I was even repping,
Exactly.
I was repping Cincinnati to my audience when we were in USL and we won the USL league. And even year one, like I was at the first home game when Okoli scored that like crazy scissor kick. Like, um, no, it was just like this is you expect us to be terrible, right? We're a brand new team. You're allowed to have those wooden spoon years. So I even with that, like I was just excited to like, yeah, tell my audience like, hey, like I finally have like a team. Like this is my hometown team. We're brand new. Like I was just excited to like teach people about FC Cincinnati. So yeah, I was, and I hope that Cincinnati appreciates that the team that, and obviously let me pull the sword, which was great. But like I have given, you know, I've told millions of people about Cincinnati, and now I think a lot of people around the world when they see Cincinnati, they probably think of me, right? And then
Yep,
they recognize
probably.
that team in that brand. So yeah, I was just happy to like to get the word out about Cincinnati. And yeah, and it's great to see us. We've been doing well the past few years. That's probably been one of the best parts.
Yeah, I don't know how you did it. I mean, I imagine some people came in just to troll, and rub it in your face a little bit. But uh, we love this team, and I'm with you, man. It was really I moved here the exact like I think like I was driving to my second day of work
Hmm.
and they were talking on the radio about FC Cincinnati is being formed and created, and there's open tryouts. And I was actually about to run out the door to go try out. I was like, this is like a Savannah Bananas team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm just gonna go out here and maybe, make a muck of it. And I'm glad I did because they were pretty good in USL days. But
oh yeah,
hey, you mentioned the pulling out the sword. We started the show off with that, man. Walk us through that. Like, I think a lot of fans that are sitting there in TQL Stadium, wonder what it would be like to be that person, the center of attention on match day like that, being able to rep your squad, your community, and lift that sport sword in front of the Bailey. Like, tell me, like how did they get in touch with you, and like what was that moment like?
yeah. Well, yeah, it was my old boss, the one who like hired me to um yeah, be like an intern when I was in college, and he still works for the team. Pretty sure he still does now. I haven't talked to him in a while, but um yeah, he reached out at the beginning of the season and he's like, the team would like love to have you pull the sword. Let me know. Like, he gave me a list of a few matches. I'm like, let's do this one. And of course, it just so happened to turn out to be the game where we clinched the supporter shield.
Yes,
And
sir.
of course, leading up to that, like the week before, when it came down to like, oh, if we win this, like we get the supporter shield. The team, it must have been someone like a bit higher up was like, "Who's pulling the sword today?" And they said me. And they actually tried to kick me off for that game. And I had just like flown back in, like my whole family was going, and they tried to be like, "Yo, like we have to get someone else." And I'm like, "Are you effing kidding me, man? Like, no, like my whole family is gonna be there. They all bought tickets." And they eventually like, "All right," they're like, "You can pull it." My boss was like, he pulled for me, and I got to do it. And incredible. I mean, yeah, like I think you could see in the video like my emotions just took over, and that was straight just like passion. Like it was one of the coolest things ever walking on the field to 20,000 plus people, Bailey right in front of you. And nah, I just like let it all out and just started fist pumping, walking straight towards the Bailey, the fire's going up behind you. Like, yeah, it's everything you could imagine. It is
Oh
it's awesome. It's
yeah.
insane. So yeah,
Once in a
awesome
lifetime.
opportunity, once in a lifetime. I wish every fan could do it. I know there was like some talk after I did it. Someone posted a video because they on the scoreboard they said like please welcome like YouTuber Jake Barford to pull the sword, and I think people who didn't know who I was were like, why is this damn YouTuber getting to pull the sword? Wow, I should be doing it. It's like, all right, I do agree. Like I wish every fan could have a chance to do that.
Absolutely.
But I've been a fan since day one. I've worked for the club. I just so happened to be a YouTuber who I guess I've done well for myself, I guess. But um, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
there'll always be somebody who's
no.
the ultimate fan, right? The ultimate fan and stuff like that. But I think it's super cool. I mean, you've been one of the most passionate, vocal people of FC Cincinnati. I think speaking for myself, I think you're absolutely who the club should have had pulling out the sword. In that game moment, them trying to pull you, give you the hook and stuff like that. That's a disappointing thing. I wish that, they would just
Well, yeah,
honor the thing, but it is what it is. I'm sure they were probably thinking like Carl or somebody like that
I
was
think
gonna pull out the sword.
someone high up at FC Cincinnati was like, "All right,
Yeah,
we're clinching today. Like, who's pulling the sword?" And they saw Jake Barford, and it's some business guy who has never watched a YouTube video before in his life. Is like, "Who the hell is this dude?" And but now it worked out. They let me do it, and yeah, it was.
absolutely.
I'm forever thankful to the team, the club, my boss, to yeah, like everyone who's watching my videos, like yeah, it's just like that was another like culmination of just like so many years of hard work, and yeah, getting to like do that in front of like my hometown team was awesome. Again, I'd love to see Cincinnati, like let's get some fans involved, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel like the sword too, it's like sure you want to get like they get Reds players, they get Bengals players, but like
Mhm.
and I yeah, like it's cool to see Joe Burrow up there, but like let's get some people who are passionate. You see Joe Burrow pull it and whoever, and they're just holding it. It's like, nah, let's get some people who actually care about this team
Yeah.
um and I think they do that, but
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think right now they're just trying to check all the boxes. I think
for
at
sure.
some point they'll just, really open that thing up and hopefully
Yeah.
so. Like, especially like being able to have like an honorary like a supporter group member or something like that, like the
Yeah,
president of a supporter group. It would be
I think so.
awesome.
I think so.
Uh so like over the last few years, obviously FC Cincinnati has really turned it on. Like, do you have a particular favorite moment other than the pulling the sword, which is legendary? But
I mean, that has to be the best
that
moment.
has to be the number one.
No, I mean, I just when I was still like living in Cincinnati full time, it was always just so fun to go to the games and stand in the Bailey with all my friends. Like those are some of the best memories I'll have. It's just, going to the pitch or wherever before, drinking some beers, sitting at the Bailey and going crazy when FC Cincinnati score. Like doesn't have to be a specific game or moment. But those memories, like I won't, yeah, just like we'll never forget. But I guess like recently, I mean, I've been living in New York and Cincinnati have played here a ton. And
Yeah.
I always love going to Red Bull Arena and seeing FC Cincinnati beat the Red Bull. I think the first year I lived here, I was here for living in New York for 2 months, and we played New York Red Bull in the first round of the playoffs,
Mhm.
and we absolutely smoked them. So that was awesome. I think the year after we played them in the US Open Cup and we
Yep.
won on penalties, I believe. That
Yeah, I think
was
so. Yep.
that was awesome as well. Um, this past year, I was at City Field and watched us lose to New York City FC, so that one wasn't great. But yeah, we've had plenty of games here, so that's been fun. Anytime they're in town, and I'm able to, I'm going to watch them. So that's been fun.
Absolutely, man. I wonder if you like, doubled the number of fans in attendance when you went to Red Bull games. That's what I wonder.
There's no one goes to those games. I actually feel well, I don't feel bad, but I kind of do. It's like it's I don't know. Yeah, they don't get support. It's really tough if you've never been to their stadium and living in New York, I understand why. It's like if you live in New York City, it's a pain in the ass to get there. It's a really expensive taxi or like a 45-minute train ride. So a lot of people who live in New York really don't go to the games because it's in New Jersey and the stadium gets filled with people who live in New Jersey. Um, and yeah, they did a bit better this year. I think their attendance this year was definitely better than I had seen before, and that's because they were actually good. But um, yeah, yeah,
It
FC
should be better.
Cincinnati.
It
Yeah,
should
it
be
should
better
be
coming off of that MLS Eastern Conference
for
championship.
sure.
So
It should. It should. We'll see if the people show up to support them now.
I'm not holding my breath. And then lastly, I just want to ask you, like, um, for FC Cincinnati, like, what's your like pinnacle? What's the like the mountaintop for you? Is it like lifting up the MLS Cup? Is it kind of like going into one of these competitions like the Club World Cup and really taking it to one of the big dogs in Europe? Like when will you like stamp it and say, FCC has arrived?
I mean, I feel like we've already arrived. Um, like if that's the term we're using, like we have made a name for ourselves very quickly, and I think we've done a really, I think we've done pretty well buying players. I've been really happy, and I'm really excited to see. Is his name Densky, the Belgian dude we got?
Dinky, yeah,
Dinky,
Dinky,
sorry.
yeah,
Was it
Dinky,
Dinke? Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
He actually was 10th in Europe in scoring last
yeah,
year,
that's
playing
absurd.
for Club Rouge. Mhm.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how he does. Acosta's just been incredible. Um, so many, yeah. I mean, like Vasquez was great. He was awesome. That was kind of like as soon as he got sold was kind of when I left Cincinnati. But no, I think the pinnacle. What is the pinnacle? The pinnacle's got to be MLS Cup.
Mhm.
Um, I also I'd like to see us do well in the Champions League, the Concacaf Champions League. I like that. I think that's a fun tournament. Um, I like that. Well, I think we're in it again this year. That
Yeah,
starts soon.
yeah, yeah. It
That's like
starts on the 19th, I believe.
yeah,
It's
that's like
we
less than a
play
month away.
A team from Honduras. So
Yeah.
I probably won't be making an away days for Honduras,
I
but
want to go, man. I want to. Last year we played in like
that's gonna be
Jamaica and
rowdy.
Mexico, and I want to go to one of these like random countries, and
Yeah,
I feel like it'd be awesome. Yeah, one of these
I
like
think
yeah,
I think people would get a welcome, like it's kind of a cliche thing, but for people that don't have never been to an American sporting event, it's really like people for the most part. I mean, NFL games can get rowdy, but for the most part, people are intermixed with each other.
hmm
People get along pretty well. That's not the case in Central America.
I feel like Central
They're
America. I don't know.
hot,
I've never
heated
been to a game
matches.
in Central America. I've been to a game in South America.
Yeah.
I've been to a game in Argentina. I will say NFL games do get like wait, sorry, are we talking about just like rowdy fans or
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay.
The
Yeah, yeah,
rowdiness, the just the kind of like the hostility for the color of your shirt instead
for
of
sure.
it just kind of like MLS. It's more or less like I hope your team loses. I hope your team loses. Rah rah.
MLS, there's no
Yeah,
hostility.
yeah.
Nah.
Other
It's
than the rivalries, the few rivalries that exist.
yeah, but like if we're talking since like Crew versus FC Cincinnati, sure, maybe like over Twitter. And
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe I've never seen like interactions at the stadium.
where
Like
they're
you'll
really
get
hot.
if we're talking like Central South America, like you'll get like fights and you'll get people
Yeah,
like dying. But that's the complete out like and nowhere else in the world is like that. Europe does get hostile, but like
sure.
people die in like South America. Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
crazy. Yeah. Like Mexico, right? There was that crazy story in the Azteca like a few
Hmm.
years ago. Like a bunch of people died. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They had that. They had that. I think it was. There was a club north in Mexico. They had to actually cancel the entire match
Yeah,
because
I'm
of
sure.
there was a like a altercation outside of the match that like multiple people got wounded and stuff. It was insane. Like
Sounds about right.
I am probably gonna stay on this side of the Rio Grande.
It's worth it though. I don't know. Like if you go with
Yeah,
someone who knows what they're doing, that's all I'll
yeah,
say. Like go with someone who
exactly.
can take you there and just wear neutral colors and you'll be all right.
Yeah,
But no, if like you're a Cincinnati fan, like Honduras, you should be fine. I
yeah,
would imagine. But if
yeah.
we're talking like Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, then it's like maybe you should just go with
Maybe,
someone.
maybe watch it on Fox.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Jake. Thanks for coming on, man. Please just kind of let everybody know where they can find you on social media and obviously your channel on YouTube. Maybe
Yeah.
something you got planned coming up.
BFordLancer, that's where it's at. YouTube is the main platform, so go check it out. Just kind of posting gaming content right now. Not nothing big planned at the moment, but Club World Cup's coming up this summer, World Cup the year after. So yeah, it's prime time for soccer here in the US. So there's gonna be a lot of good stuff coming up. So stay tuned.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Be be sure to check out our show on Monday. I know that we're going to have quite a few discussions on FC Cincinnati's preseason match versus CF Monterey or Montreal. Please, if you'd like to see somebody or us reach out and interview somebody else, please reach out to us at feedback@cincinnati.soccertalk.com, and we'd be happy to set it up. Again, thank you so much, Jake.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.